then retirement planning, because then now we're catering for you living too long and reaching that retirement stage. You don't want to depend on government. The truth is that.
Yes.
The truth is that.
Of course.
If you're on a salary of 25K and now right, and then at old age you add 2,000 rand, that is a drastic change. As humans, we are our biggest assets, and this is what we don't understand. If I can't work, then I can't make money. The same way you insure your car should be the same way for the biggest assets, which is you. Because if you are not insured, then the car can't be bought, the house can't be bought, the salary can't be earned.
Day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited about this one. We're having a favorite conversation because when it comes to money, and we're talking with Amanda about this, right? So we're having a conversation about this in terms of whenever somebody approaches us about financial planning, it's more of, I do not want to be closed, but we're forgetting something that these decisions are things that are affecting our children directly and us. So it's important that we do have these, and I'm really excited about this. So with that being said, let's turn on the hourglass there.
Hi everybody, welcome to today's episode. Today we have Amanda, as Noah actually just told us. So Amanda, with introducing yourself.
So I am Amanda Mabaso, a Liberty financial advisor. I've been a financial advisor for 2.5 years. And hard, it's hectic, but I love every minute of it.
Okay.
I still choose it every day.
Okay. So Amanda, tell me, right, because with financial planning, right, what is financial planning? I think if we can start there.
Okay. So financial planning, I loved how you mentioned when someone calls you about insurance, you instantly think that this one is trying to close me and you shut the phone down. My approach is slightly different to that because it is holistic financial planning, where you are helping the client understand their funds, their monies, not only understand their monies, but also the cover that they might have in place with their employer or any other cover that they might have taken on the side. So financial planning is simply just that, having a look at your overall financial well-being.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this topic, and the reason being is that even when we talked about it earlier on, we talked about how an employee would have certain financial policies in place. But now when you're looking at your entrepreneurs, we're talking about your singers, we're talking about your professional, let's say in sports, within the sports facilities, right? Now, I do not have that employer that's looking out for me like that. So what would you say that one needs to be aware of? Because we did mention several examples that, guys, especially as entrepreneurs, the only thing that I'm thinking about is stacking up money. I'm just thinking about making money. I'm not thinking about risk. So what would you then say to that entrepreneur?
When you are an employee, you're protected by your employer, but because by law, your employer, you have to have employee benefits, which mostly incorporate life cover, funeral cover, some income protection or dread disease cover, which is different to someone who is self-employed. You are your own manager, meaning that you don't have that cover of an employer giving you those benefits. So you are then liable to get your own cover on the side. And that's exactly where I come in. Okay, a simple example as a soccer player. A soccer player depends on their legs to make money. And if a soccer player can't kick the ball or can't run around in the field, then their income is compromised. So then now, if you don't have the necessary cover in place which can protect your income, let's say you meet up with an accident and when you after a soccer practice and now you're going back home, similar to a person who is an artist, sings, where now you are met with, something happens and now you can't sing. And if you don't have the necessary cover in place to ensure that you protect that voice or you protect those legs, then it's chai.
Sure.
It's chai. So this is exactly where I come in by educating the entrepreneur, and I love educating entrepreneurs because you need to understand that you don't have an employer, so you don't have a backup. You don't have that umbrella protecting you, so you need to look out for you. Even if like you said, you don't have to have millions. The little that you are getting, put aside money for your risk cover to ensure, should I not be able to play soccer anymore, or should I not be able to sing, am I sufficiently covered with the right cover to cater for life's most unfortunate events? Because I mean, nobody plans an accident,
Sure.
or you don't plan a stroke, but life happens. But with the right cover, then you can rest assured that you can still, while you're still trying to stack your cash, you are then protected to say, should this happen to me, I've got this backing up.
Yeah. So now we've always heard people, right? I mean, I know with my grandmother or my aunt, she has all of these funeral covers, right? But they don't look at life cover, disability, retirement, annuity, right? Now, except life cover, not life cover, your funeral cover. What would be that other one that you'd say, okay, if someone is saying that I only have the budget for 3, right? And number one,
1,000 or 100?
no, I only have a budget for 3 policies, right?
Okay.
So have my funeral cover sorted. What other 2 would you say are the most important for one to actually have?
So when I do financial planning, I do holistic financial planning where I look at your risk cover. Risk cover being life cover, critical illness, disability, and income protection. And then I do investments, which can be your RA, short term, medium term, to long term goals. And then, of course, estate planning, where it is wills and estate planning.
Yeah.
I would say for, okay, so each person's portfolio is different.
Okay,
Right?
so can I give you like a case study so that
Yeah,
we
you
can
can.
understand? Okay, so it's a guy. He's a single parent. He has 2 kids. He has a property, but he's almost about to pay it off. Right? Say for instance, he has 200,000 left to pay off the property. He doesn't have a spouse. He lives with his 2 kids, and the kids are probably, one is 18 years and the other one is 16 years.
Okay, is there black tax?
Black tax, no.
No black tax.
Mm-mm.
Employed?
Employed, yes, employed.
Okay.
Getting paid around 25,000.
Cool. Okay, so that person first would have to look at their risk cover. That would be your life cover.
Okay.
Critical, like I said, risk cover is life cover, disability, income protection, and critical illness cover.
Okay.
First and foremost, we look at that to ensure that we are securing the client's base. Okay, just to ensure foundation. I like to use foundation because just like a house, your foundation needs to be solid. Okay, remember that example that I made earlier of a soccer player. Yes, a soccer player might have enough money that they've got investments everywhere, but if those legs are not insured and that person's career is only 3 years, all of those investments could be, could be null and void because all of that money now will need to fund, cater for if they need a wheelchair and whatnot. So first and foremost is our foundation solid. That is your risk cover, having the right risk cover in place. I would look at that. There's a property in the picture? How much is owed on the property? There's kids in the picture. How much how much do the kids need to survive on a month-to-month basis? Should the father pass on, what happens to these children? Will they continue? Will life be the same for them? With the proper risk cover in place. That's first and foremost. Then, second most important policy to have is then retirement planning. Okay, because then now we're catering for you living too long, and reaching that retirement stage. You don't want to depend on government. The truth is that.
Yes. Yes.
The truth is that.
Of course.
If you're on a salary of 25K and now right, and then at old age you at 2,000 rand, that is a drastic change. Yes, you are no longer paying for a car or a house, so the kids are probably out of school. But really, would 2,000 rand from a 25,000 rand salary be enough? So we look at the retirement planning as well. And then, of course, I mean, if a client has then, more funds to it's like I don't want to call it extra money because you can never have extra money. You can always allocate that money somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay, but if there's surplus, then we can look at then, okay, are we then putting enough money for the kids' education in this picture because the father has kids? Are we saving enough for the children's education? All right. And then last would then be your wills and estate planning. Okay, to say now that the father has built this legacy, should he no longer be in the picture, is there the correct protection to ensure that this house that he's been paying for goes to the kids.
Yeah.
And if the kids are young, is there a proper trust in place to look after these kids even when he is no longer around?
You know, the thing about us is that I feel as if with that generation, that's problematic. And the reason why I'm saying that is that when I was looking at that family structure whereby they're doing savings, not to speak bad about my family. I think it's a good initiative. But when I'm looking at the value for money, I see a problem in it. So I don't see myself. I love my family. I'll see them every Sunday. Or if we are to meet for a braai, I'll do that. But for me, enrolling in this, I see a problem with it. Because when I'm looking at it, let me just give you an example. Looking at the numbers, right?
Okay.
If I'm looking at the numbers and I'm saying that 350 bucks, right? 350 multiplied by 12, that's 4,200
And the
within a year.
Right? And how much is the payout amount?
It pays 10,000. So if I'll be saying that this only, let's just say that you've been saving this with them, with the family society for 5 years, that's like 21K. But of course, you can still put in more people. I know there's mathematicians that are already calculating, but if you get more people, ultimately means that it does cover that, right? But then now when I'm comparing it again with services that you are providing, it's way more than this. It's way more than this. So my question now is that when it comes to, because I know there's a lot of people that do have covers in place, but for me, that this is not emotional, it's a numbers game. So what would you say is the biggest mistake, especially when somebody enrolling into a certain policy where they do get it wrong?
Okay. So you know what, as an advisor, we don't really push premium, but it's more of, like you said, the service. Okay, you're not only just trying. Yes, a close is wonderful because that's money for me, but then also it's the educating part of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think first and foremost for me, I was so intrigued just finding out about everything, that is insurance related. So it's also just educating the client and making them understand that, okay, so even if I do say I'm moving you over to my book and I want to be your financial advisor, you might pay a lot more, maybe slightly more, but also you're now getting holistic planning where you're getting everything that you understand from A to Z. So it's not simply just me trying to just close the deal, but also just the educational part of it. Do you understand what you're insured for? Do you understand the values of the cover amounts that you have and the different illnesses that you are covered for? It's also, it's all of that. And just having an overall look at your financial planning.
Okay. Now, there's a question that I want to ask, right? And I know that a lot of people are asking themselves this question, but they don't want to ask it publicly. So I'll be that person that will ask it, right?
You play devil's advocate.
Of course. So now, sometimes it happens, right?
Yes.
It happens that we marry wrong, right?
Ooh, okay.
We marry wrong, and now we were married in community of property, right? And now it happens that, however, I pass on before get my payouts. So say, for instance, if I had like a retirement annuity, I also had like other investments that I did, right? Now, I want to know that if I'm married in community of property, however, I do not want my spouse to get that money and I want to get it to my kids, which policies would you say would then be able to go that direction? Because I know that there are a lot of people that are asking themselves this question because they've been in this relationship and they can see what's going on. However, they don't know how to make sure that their kids are the only people that will be getting this money.
Okay. Interesting story because I had a client.
So everybody wants to know.
But I can share this because I'm not going to be sharing the client's name.
Yeah.
And details. Okay, so we're still within the Copy Act.
Yeah.
So this client of mine called me to say, Amanda, I'm married in similar story, married in community of property, and there is a child. You know how things happen. There's a child from another lady. And I know that should I pass on, I am, everything of mine automatically goes to my partner. Yes, wife. So In this case, right, of course, the house, because already half of the house is the partner's, already. But a life cover goes to the beneficiary that's there. So that's your way of securing almost like money that will not be added onto the estate. So a life covered with the right beneficiary can then come in and save the day in that case.
Yeah.
Now, how often do you have to come through and renew the life cover? Or is it something that you do annually, or is it something that you do only when things are changed? Because I can only imagine if you last updated it 2 years back and now you have a situation and you still want to update it.
Okay. So you can update as and when. There isn't any limits to when you can change your beneficiaries. As soon as you feel like, okay, I want to remove this beneficiary and add this one, you can do that as and when you like.
Yeah.
But the correct thing to do also is to always ensure that you have a will that is updated.
Yeah.
Okay. I know people are, okay, I don't want to say my age, our age again. And then I can find we're not the same age. But I know that the young ones are probably not even looking at having wills and whatnot. But the more assets and the more investments you have, the more things you have.
Yeah.
And when there's kids as well in the picture, then it's also then important to have a will in place which puts in the correct rules. Not even correct, but your rules to say, okay, I'm gonna give you an example of, let's say the married person, that married guy has a child with someone else, and then that child is under 18. It would then be advisable that should he pass on, whatever benefits, whatever payouts that's going to be received from there is put into the trust for that child. That would then be the right thing. Or else, if a child is under 18, then that money is then allocated to guardians fund. It's then looked out, and then the child can claim the full amounts, whatever the value is left over when they turn 18.
Yeah.
Each case is different. That's why it's important for each individual to, because we don't really use like a blanket approach to say because you're a man and you've got kids and you've got this is what you need. No. Each case is different. Each each person's risk is individual, and if you've got I don't want to say perfect, but if you've got a financial advisor who can look at all of this, can then guide you accordingly.
Yeah, no, man, I'm happy that we're having this conversation, and I'd like people to start having them more, especially with their financial planners. And it's a must that people book you guys and see you guys once a year. It is a must because I'm looking at it from a perspective whereby as soon as the family grows, a lot of people would have that mindset whereby I have my policy in place, so I'm sorted. Only to find out now I've got 5 kids and then I leave this planet. And by that time when I had it, it was only 1. Now my kids end up fighting. So ultimately, hence I'm saying that it's a must that we start having these conversations over the table. And then number 2, right, there's a question that I wanted to ask that's very important that some people didn't even know. Some sees of the life cover. Of the life cover itself, I realized when I was doing research is that some life covers, they only cover you until 65. Whereas others, it will be until you pass on, even if it's after that term. So is it true or is it not true when it comes to that?
So it depends on how your policy is captured. Okay? Let me give you another example of, let's say a person takes a home loan protection cover. Okay, so that cover is to say, I've got a home loan with this bank and for this amount, and should I pass on, I want the debt to be covered. Okay, and then maybe depending on your budget, then your financial advisor might say, okay, let's keep this life cover just for 65 years, where if your home loan is paid within 20 years, you can then go back, amend, or change to whole of life. Or you can, if you see if you're taking it specifically for this, you can then cancel if you want to. So then that's when those nitty-gritty details might apply. But if you are then taking the cover for you, your family, for your dependents, then you can then put the whole of life benefits, which is what always advisable, because if then it's covering you for all your life. No, it's then important to always understand what cover it is exactly that you have, and why you're taking out the cover. Okay, and then you can work around that. So it is what you're saying is true. There can be a life cover that can be up to the age of 65.
Yeah.
And I would say that it probably is advisable depending on what you're taking it for.
Yeah.
But you can also then have a life cover that is for whole of life, which is for you're covered for your entire life. Yeah. And then also the importance of also having annual reviews is that simply because your cover needs to always align with your current financial standing.
Yeah.
In the case of income protection, right? Now, income protection is when you get paid out of monthly salary because you can't work due to an illness or a disability. If that is not updated, let's say you took it out 10 years ago when you were still an administrator and you were earning 15,000 Rand. Okay, 10 years later, where you've probably now gone up in the ranks and you are now a manager. If your income protection is not updated to align, just like your life cover, if it's not updated to align with your debts and your dependents and what you want to leave for your dependents, then then you could literally be working backwards because should anything happen, whatever's in the system at that time is what will pay out. I mean, of course, it does go up annually if you've selected a benefit increase, but if it's not, the importance of the reviews is simply that we see is everything still aligned with you and your finances.
Okay, just a last question from my side, right? What would be the number one thing that you'd say to people that do not have a life?
So for the young ones, they always think they're invincible, right?
Yes. I
Like,
mean, they'll
why
even
would I
still
get
think that.
any illness? Why would I pass on? So I like to paint things into a picture so people look at this and understand. So if you are a young person who has no desire to get married, no desire to have kids, okay, let's say you buy a house, you buy a car. Surely, even if you pass away, you wouldn't want that house taken by the bank, and then ultimately, then you're working backwards. Even that car that you would have, surely you want to ensure that you leave it for, even if it's your brother or your sister. Um, but also your mom, your dad, surely you've got people you'd want to leave money for should you pass on. So it's always advisable to, I mean, have cover, have cover in place, and especially, I mean, I know I wouldn't want. Okay, for me, it's a different picture because I've got kids, so I have to have it.
Yeah.
But for someone who doesn't have kids, okay, think about your mom, think about your dad, your sister. Surely that money can then go towards their education or towards mom and dad's holiday. You can sponsor black tax from the other side, from the other side of the so it's simply just that. Also, when you are young, like I said, it's not only limited to just life cover. When you are young, you need to protect your income. As humans, we are our biggest assets, and this is what we don't understand. If I can't work, then I can't make money. If I can't um if I can function, then I can make money. The same way you insure your car should be the same way for the biggest assets, which is you. Because if you are not insured, then the car can't be bought, the house can't be bought, the salary can't be earned. So for a young person, it's not only just I don't want to only just limit it to life cover because okay, yes, maybe you won't die now, but are you insured? Is your income insured? If you can't work tomorrow, will there be the right cover in place? And that's where financial planners come in. If you were to be diagnosed with a stroke nowadays, it doesn't choose how old you are. So if you were to suffer a stroke and can't work, and your employer says, sorry, what happens then? What do you do now? Because now you won't be able to earn an income. Are you now going to go live off the 2,000 Rand for disability?
Nice.
See, so it's all of those questions that the young ones need to think. That they need to think of. It goes beyond just you getting life cover. Financial planning is just it goes beyond that. But it's me highlighting those problems to you that okay, what happens in this instance?
In conclusion, from my side, I love that analogy that you made, and you did mention that you paint good pictures. So I don't know if you involved in this. Because I'm asking myself, right? I just thought about this in terms of the whole conversation, bringing everything together, whereby if I can insure my car and I can insure my house, but I didn't insure myself, I'm ultimately at risk. So that's the picture that I got, that I got, and I'm really grateful that we did have this conversation, and I'm hoping that more people will reach out to you guys. So, in terms of people getting your contact details, we'll put them below. And even from our side, we did mention that this is a relationship that we want to build, guys. Have more of these conversations. Make such conversations trend, because ultimately you can't speak about generational wealth without talking about what we mentioned. So it's about time that we start prioritizing on such conversations.
7th of September, we will be hosting a property investing workshop whereby we will be talking about property investing. We'll be having SA Home Loans. We'll be having the guys from Liberty to actually come through and have a chat about more of these, because I believe that we really need to start having such conversations, because it's only when a person has passed on that we say, but they didn't take this. Ish. Then by then it's too late. So it's important that we start having these conversations right now.